Despite a lack of mainstream hype for many of Fall 2016's titles, we've managed to arrive at a season filled with some incredibly engaging series. A season where you can't look but see various stylistic approaches taken within these new titles. So here are some quick looks at some of the amazing stuff of Fall 2016 shows that make this season special. As the director of Michiko Hatchin and Lupin III, the woman called Fujiko Mine, and as someone who Satoshi Kon personally recruited into the anime industry, Sayo Yamamoto is one of anime's most valuable directors. Directing the Japan Animator Expo short Endless Nights last year, her ability to portray ice skating, a sport that she's a huge fan of, in a way that is both visually engaging and tells a narrative in itself is something to be respected. It's this ability to transform simple moments into a creative spectacle that's the reason why she's been brought on to create so many openings and endings to prominent shows. But it's the times when she's given the opportunity to create her own arena like Yuri on Ice that really stand out. Her portrayal of sexuality is never lowbrow and always seeks to unravel characters' outer shells and lead to emotionally explicit moments, without falling into many of the cheesy dramatical tropes we've seen from so many other attempts. And this isn't just delivered through writing, but through the storyboards and animation, and in the case of Yuri on Ice, the choreography created by champion figure skater Kenji Miyamoto, who has even choreographed performances for the Winter Olympics. However, it takes animators to bring those performances to screen in a new way, and Seong Park is one of them. Perhaps one of the most unanimous perspectives on Yuri on Ice is that its opening is the bee's knees, an exciting song performed by actor and Seattle College graduate Dean Fujioka. It fits with the striking performances on screen, entirely key animated by Korean animator Seong Park, with additional details added by other staff members. The way the characters swing about the frame is nothing but captivating. Cedric Herole is one of the many French anime staff that have been making an impact on the anime industry. As the animator of the Drifters opening, that means all the hand-drawn animation, Herole created something sketchy, fast and erratic. It's anything but clean, but that's what makes it special. France is becoming more and more relevant to the anime industry, and the site Fransujin Connection is there to help educate this important generation on how the industry works and introduces them to those that have already found success, like Herole. How about we go for a hat trick on solo animation projects? Seong Park created the Yuri on Ice opening, Cedric Herole created the Drifters opening, and Megumi Kouno created Shelter. I can't justify creating a whole video on Shelter since I've already done an 8-minute video on Megumi Kouno, but Shelter is the penultimate Kouno work. Fun walk cycles, charming smiles, bouncy movements. I can't speak at length without repeating myself, so please go back and watch that video. It's linked on screen here. To Be Hero is fucking crazy, but it gives me a reason to talk about Chinese web animators. I'll try to make this quick, but To Be Hero is a series directed by Li Haoling, a Chinese animation director, and it features a lot of work by animators within China who go under their usernames. But the real standout guy is Lan, who according to research by Wave Motion Canon's Josh Dunham, animates more cuts than any other staff member on the show. And one of his most impressive cuts is this 1-minute long sequence from the opening, and this was all created whilst performing his role as character designer and chief animation director. Anime is getting global, and hopefully we'll see more of Lan and the To Be Hero crew on more of these projects. The web generation of animators are a hugely important part of the modern animation industry. These are young animators who have built up their portfolio by producing animation online, only to be contacted by producers to do professional key animation work. Normally, an aspiring animator will have to do years of in-between frames before being given the chance to do even a couple of seconds of key animation. And Yoshihara is one of the people that is hugely involved with helping this generation thrive. As a young animator himself, he's been recruiting these talents for whenever he gets a chance to direct. Whether it's Yatman Night or Monster Musume, the animation has thrived on the basis of Yoshihara bringing the crew along with him, allowing for the fun, fluid and effects-driven work that digital animation has become known for. Most surprisingly, in Long Riders, he even gave the 20-year-old animator China the position of episode director and storyboard artist for episode 3. There's people that have been working for over a decade and never got opportunities like that, but Yoshihara is someone who seems to want to challenge these norms and give these positions based on their work rather than experience. We've talked a lot about animators and directors so far since this is Animator Spotlight, but Yoichi Kato is a screenwriter, and as much as I'd like to talk about animation on this channel, I'm hugely enthusiastic about how screenwriting as a business is affecting anime. For example, I recently wrote about Aniplex's Script Room initiative for Crunchyroll. Link to that is in the description. But with that aside, Yoichi Kato is one of the best writers in the industry in regards to eccentric comedy series. As one of the main people responsible for the success of both Aikatsu and Yokai Watch, his familiar blend of comedy is always welcome, never gets boring and always seems to deliver bizarre twists in a fun way. And it's only when he's put in charge of an original series that he really lets loose, and due to his constant successes with younger audiences, he's become so in demand that he's currently in charge of 5 different series this season, although Time Bokan 24 represents his comfort zone the most. Kiyotaka Oshiyama is not only a fun name to say, but also the director of Flip Flappers, one of the most visually impressive shows of the year. Taking the approach of a visual narrative, we watch as Kokona and Paprika, equally fun names to say, explore vast, beautiful alternate worlds. Working with Studio Pablo on these incredible hand-painted backgrounds, Flip Flappers is anything but dull. Previously known for his direction of Space Dandy's 18th episode, that was something that he not only directed, but also wrote, storyboarded, and even key animated entirely by himself. Loose and adventurous, we got the opportunity to see Oshiyama's style with no strings attached. And as rare as something like that is, now the exact same thing has happened a second time, this time as a TV series produced by a production company called Infinite. As an animator in his own right, Oshiyama has teamed up with a star crew, such as animator Takashi Kojima, who on top of creating the designs and supervising the animation, animated some of the show's most impressive cuts, like this one from episode 4 that I absolutely love. And finally, the genius that is Masashi Ishihama. Whilst he's primarily known to be the director of Shinsekai Yuri and the Garokawa film, much of his stylistic vision can be seen within his work on openings, and you can see many of his trademark features within his Occultic 9 OP. Flat colours, the use of patterns as colour layers, and the integration of credits into the sequence rather than just leaving them as floating text. It's an engaging way to connect to a series from the get-go, and Ishihama has had great success on everything from Attack on Titan's second opening to the Erased ED and the Psychopaths opening. However, one of his best works still remains to be the Yama no Susume second season's opening. All the Ishihama elements that I mentioned earlier, but with a delightful pace to it all, transitioning from shot to shot in creative ways, and Occultic 9's opening takes some of what worked for that and implemented it into a different sort of show entirely. Fall is full of cool names, and I fear I'd be talking for hours if I was to go through all of them. Other highlights include Ryosuke Nishi's Occultic 9 Episode 4, which he key animated entirely by himself, Kenjiro Okada, the director of March Comes the Lion, which has some stunning set pieces and storyboards. Then there's Tetsuya Takeuchi, who previously was a very exciting action animation director for Sword Art Online, and he's now taken the same role on Izetta the Last Witch. Learning the names of anime staff members is a good way to show a level of appreciation for the shows that we love, as well as gain a better understanding of how anime is created in general. So if there's dialogue you really engaged with, why not look up who wrote the scripts? If there's a cut of animation that blew you away, then why not visit sakugabori.com to find out who drew it? Thanks for watching the Canipa Effect. Links to further reading on these people is in the description, and the next video is a studio spotlight.